In 2015, an internal investigation of the Transportation Security Administration, or TSA, revealed security failures at dozens of the nation's busiest airports. Undercover investigators attempted to smuggle mock explosives or banned weapons through security checkpoints. 95% of them were able to get through undetected. Why is the TSA so bad at its job? TSA has a bad reputation. Their workers seem to be rude and constantly frustrated with travelers who are already at their worst. They're tired, stressed, and not thinking clearly. It makes for a perfect storm. Travelers don't like the TSA, and it seems like the TSA doesn't like travelers. But for all the subjective concerns about TSA's frustrations and invasiveness, a look below the surface reveals far more concerning issues, specifically that the TSA is failing its basic mission. Let me explain. Shortly after the devastating September 11th attacks against the US in 2001, the government created the TSA. Before TSA's creation, airport security in the US was a patchwork of private companies, each with varying levels of training and protocols. This system proved tragically inadequate. The 9/11 Commission report, released several years after 9/11, gave a searing indictment of the aviation security lapses and called for a radical overhaul of the nation's aviation security apparatus. Originally part of the Department of Transportation, the TSA became part of the Department of Homeland Security. To broadly achieve its mission to, quote, protect the nation's transportation systems to ensure freedom of movement for people and commerce, passengers and baggage undergo a combination of X-ray machines, metal detectors, and advanced body scanners. At TSA checkpoints, the officers have to conduct 8 unique tasks, including checking documents, performing pat-downs, and what's called divestiture, or telling people what they should put onto the X-ray conveyor belt. Each task is regulated and standardized. For example, a TSA pat-down consists of 18 individual steps which officers learn during a 3-hour classroom session. Altogether, this means that TSA officers are tasked with a lot and not much time to do it. Passengers want to move quickly and seamlessly, but an 18-step pat-down is bound to slow the process down. To make matters worse, these officers are on probation for about their first 2 years on the job. This means that they can be fired for anything that's deemed unacceptable. The result? A strict adherence to TSA guidelines and frequent disciplining of passengers. The strict work environment impacts the workers pretty directly. TSA officers start at one of the lowest federal wages at an average of $35,000 a year. After their 2-year probationary period, they get a 15% boost to their salary. That's the last raise many will see. It's no wonder that the TSA workers have one of the lowest job satisfaction rates in government. Beyond the work conditions, critics argue that the TSA fails its basic purpose. Its huge cost, totaling $140 billion over the past 2 decades, has produced lackluster results. According to a working paper by Rand Corporation, about 2/3 of terrorist plots are stopped in their early phases. The only 2 somewhat successful bombers post 9/11 in the US were the shoe bomber and the underwear bomber, both of which boarded planes from foreign airports where TSA does not operate. Moreover, the zero-tolerance policy toward hijacking, the locked cockpit, the perceived presence of federal air marshals, and even the willingness of passengers to fight back all make the likelihood and success of an attack very slim. And I haven't even mentioned the TSA, which some have called security theater because of the other factors that deter would-be attackers. Or maybe the perceived success of the TSA is enough to deter attackers. I read an article in The Verge which I think aptly described the logic behind why the TSA was created and why it, from an extreme perspective, may not have to exist. Here's what the article said. The truth is that although many commentators on 9/11 called the attacks our Pearl Harbor, a better comparison might be our Trojan horse, a stratagem so successful, so devastating, and so infamous that it will never work again. It makes little sense for the TSA to organize itself so single-mindedly against an attack that may never come, a massive agency on the lookout for a big wooden horse. Yet that's what the TSA does. I haven't even touched on the race and bias concerns stemming from TSA. There are plenty of stories about those who look Middle Eastern or have Arabic-sounding names being detained more frequently than their counterparts, or that gender non-conforming individuals are frequently picked up by the large X-ray machines which have only 2 settings for 2 genders. or that TSA workers had to remain working throughout the COVID-19 pandemic before the vaccine because they were deemed essential workers, a policy stemming from President George W. Bush's declaration that the job of every officer working under the Department of Homeland Security is essential and unprecedented. There is some good that the TSA does. They stop passengers from carrying firearms in the cabin, they help stop cases of human trafficking, they find drugs or illicit substances. But it's hard to justify that a shampoo bottle may pose a terrorist threat. In the world of the TSA, though, there is no gray area, just absolutes. Hey everyone, this is a bit longer than my past few videos, and I'm curious if this format is better than the bite-sized videos I've previously been making. I'm trying to balance this YouTube thing, so let me know what's most interesting to you and I'll work to make it happen. Thanks for watching, be sure to like and subscribe, it means a lot.